Hello students, 5A part 1 says, write down in the ascending powers of x the three terms in the expansion of 1 plus 4x to the power n and then simplify each term. So for 5A part 1, we'll use the formula if I'm expanding 1 plus x to the power n. So I'm writing it as 1 plus nx plus n into n minus 1 over 2 factorial into x square, and the series goes on. So if I'm expanding 1 plus 4x to the power n, so according to the formula, it should be 1 plus. So the value of x over here is being replaced by 4x. So that should be n into 4x plus n into n minus 1 by 2 factorial into 4x whole square, and the series goes on. So if I simplify it further, so it becomes 1 plus 4nx. Now this is 16x square cancelled by 2, so that becomes 8. So that means it is 8n into n minus 1 x square plus, and the series goes on. So that will be the answer for 5A part 1. 5A part 2 says, in the expansion of 1 plus 4x to the power n multiplied with 1 minus 4x, the coefficient of x square is 6032. Given that n has a value greater than 0, we have to find the value of n. So to answer this part, we'll use this expansion that we have got for 1 plus. So we can write it as 8n into n minus 1 x square, and the series goes on. So that's the expansion that we have used for 1 plus 4x to the power n. Now, if I multiply it with 1 minus 4x, and I'm trying to get the coefficient of x square, so that means literally this 1 shouldn't be multiplied with any of the factors over here to get x square. Now, this x has to be multiplied with minus 4x. So in that case, it becomes minus 16n, which is the coefficient of x square. Now, this whole thing should be multiplied with 1 to get the coefficient of x square. So that means it becomes plus 8n into n minus 1. That's the entire coefficient we got it for n square. So that should be equal to 6032, which they have given in the problem. So that means I can write minus 16n plus 8n square minus 8n, and that should be equal to 6032. So that means we got it as 8n square minus 8n, and if I bring this over here, so I get it as minus 6048, and that's equals to 0. So I can take 8 common from here. So this becomes n square minus n, and if I'm taking 8 common from here, so this is 7 times, so it's 56. So it's 44, so that's 6 times, and this is 6 times, so that means we got it here as 44, so that's 5, and this is 6, so we got it as 756. So if I'm doing the middle term factor for here, so that should be equal to, so the value of n that we got is n square, so that should be minus of 29 and plus of 28n, and that's minus of 756. So I will check out the division part over here once again. So it's 8 into 7, which is 56, it's 44. So you got it correctly, yes. So that should be equal to 0. So if I solve this out, so the value of n that we got is equals to 29. We cannot have a negative value because they have said that n is greater than 0. So that will be the answer for the 5A part 2. Moving on to the answer for 5B part 2, we have to find the term which is independent of x in this expansion. So we'll first deal with the marking scheme of this. So we'll get this total sum is for 2 marks. So in the first step, writing this expansion correctly gives you a 1 mark, and writing down the final answer gives you a 1 mark for this. And sum number 2, we have got 3 marks for this. So that means writing this expression correctly, which we have got here, that gives you 1 mark. Making the quadratic equation and solving it out here is a 1 mark, and 1 mark for writing the answer correct. So this is the marking scheme of this question. Now moving on to the 5B part of the question. So if I'm writing it as a minus x to the power n, so if I'm expanding this part and I'm writing its general term, which is TR plus 1th term. So we usually write it as minus 1 to the power R, NCR, a to the power n minus r, and x to the power r. So even if you're writing it as x minus a to the power n, so its TRF term should be TR plus 1th term should be minus 1 to the power r should be multiplied with NCR, x to the power n minus r, and a to the power r. So if I'm taking this full term, and if this is x by 2 minus 8 by x to the power 4 and to the power 10. So if I'm writing is TR plus 1th term, so that should be minus 1 to the power r, should be 10CR. In place of x, we have x by 2. So that means we can write it as x by 2 to the power 10 minus r. In place of a, we have 8 by x to the power 4. So that can be written as to the power r. So we'll only consider the powers of x here. So that's x to the power 10 minus r into x to the power minus 4r. And that's equals to x, which they have given. So that means x to the power 1. So that means we can write 10 minus 5r. So this is 10 and this is minus r and this is minus 4r. And they have to find the term independent of x. So this should be 0. So that's equals to 0. So the value of r that we got is equals to 2. So if I place it into this equation, so the coefficient becomes minus 1 to the power 2 into 10C2 and into 8 squared. So that's the coefficient of the term which is independent of x. If you solve it out, it comes something as 45 by 4 and or 11.25. So that's the final answer for the coefficient of the term independent of x. Now, if I deal with the marking scheme, so getting this step correct, you get a mark for this. And then writing the final answer correctly, like getting this, is a 1 marker thing. Thank you, students.